It's the year 2000, and the average house price in Amsterdam is around 172,000 euros. But fast forward to 2024, how did things change so drastically? Across the entire city of Amsterdam, the average price per square meter, or per 11 square feet, has reached approximately 5,800 euros to 6,000 euros as of 2024. This means that even in less central or prestigious neighborhoods, a 75 square meter apartment, or 807 square feet, could still cost between 435,000 euros and 450,000 euros. And if you think that's steep, wait until you hear about the city center. In the city center, the average price per square meter is even higher, around 7,500 euros. In prime locations such as the Canal Belt or the Museum Quarter, prices can exceed 10,000 euros per square meter, meaning that a modest 75 square meter apartment, or 807 square feet, in these areas can easily cost upwards of 750,000 euros. But what's driving these exorbitant prices, making homeownership unattainable for most residents? These high property prices are driven by a significant imbalance between supply and demand. Amsterdam's desirability as a place to live, work, and invest has led to increased demand, but the city's limited geographical size, strict zoning laws, and a slow rate of new construction mean that the supply of available homes remains perpetually low. This high demand and limited supply have created a seller's market. But what does that really mean for those looking to buy? The intense competition for properties often leads to bidding wars. How much over the asking price would you be willing to pay to secure a home? It is not uncommon for homes to sell for well above the asking price, sometimes by as much as 20 to 30%. Buyers must be prepared to act quickly and decisively, often submitting offers without the luxury of thorough inspections or due diligence. This frantic pace can lead to overvaluation, where buyers pay more than the actual market value of the property, further inflating prices. For example, an apartment listed at 600,000 euros might end up selling for 720,000 euros after a bidding war, significantly above the asking price. Securing a mortgage in Amsterdam's inflated housing market presents its own set of challenges. Dutch banks typically require a significant down payment, often around 10 to 20% of the purchase price. For a 750,000 euros apartment, this means coming up with 75,000 euros to 150,000 euros upfront. But what happens when the bank won't lend as much as you need? Additionally, banks are cautious and will not lend beyond a certain threshold relative to the property's assessed value, which can be problematic in an overvalued market. As of 2024, typical mortgage interest rates in the Netherlands range from 2 to 3%, adding to the financial burden. The disparity between income levels and housing costs further exacerbates the crisis. How can average earners possibly keep up with these rising costs? The median gross annual income in Amsterdam is approximately 36,000 euros. For a household with 2 working adults, this might total around 72,000 euros. However, with property prices so high, many residents find homeownership financially out of reach. The standard mortgage lending limit in the Netherlands is typically set at around 4.5 times the gross annual income, meaning a household earning 72,000 euros can borrow up to 324,000 euros. But with the average home price far exceeding that amount, what does the future hold for potential homeowners in Amsterdam? This is far below the cost of most properties in Amsterdam, making it nearly impossible for average earners to buy a home. But if you think buying a home is challenging, what about those who are just trying to find a place to rent? As home prices skyrocket, rental costs have also surged, creating a whole new set of challenges for Amsterdam's residents. The cost of renting in Amsterdam has surged to alarming levels over the past decade. In 2024, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the city center is around 1,500 euros per month. But what about those looking to live in popular neighborhoods? Just how much higher can those prices go? Particularly popular neighborhoods often see prices that exceed 2,000 euros per month. And if you're thinking a bigger space might offer better value, think again. What are renters really facing in Amsterdam's housing market? For those needing more space, a 3-bedroom apartment can easily cost €3,500 or more per month. Even outside the city center, rental prices remain high, with 1-bedroom apartments averaging €1,200 per month and 3-bedroom apartments around €2,500 per month. These prices place a significant financial burden on residents, taking up a substantial portion of their monthly income. Availability is another critical issue. But with such high demand, what happens when there just aren't enough places to go around? The high demand for rental properties in Amsterdam far exceeds the supply, resulting in a very low vacancy rate, often below 2%. This scarcity means that prospective tenants face intense competition for available units. How far would you go to secure a home? It's not uncommon for people to attend multiple viewings and compete against dozens of other applicants for the same apartment. The high demand for rental properties has also led to long waiting lists for social housing. But what does it mean when the average wait is nearly a decade? In Amsterdam, the average waiting time for social housing ranges from 8 to 12 years, making this option nearly unattainable for many residents. The shortage of affordable housing forces people to turn to the private rental market, where prices are significantly higher. What options are left when the private market is out of reach? This leaves many individuals and families in precarious situations, unable to find stable and affordable housing. High rental costs and limited availability have profound impacts on residents' quality of life. But how exactly does the pressure of Amsterdam's rental market affect daily living? Many are forced to live in smaller, less desirable apartments, often sharing spaces with roommates well into their 30s and 40s. The financial strain of high rent leaves less disposable income for other necessities and can lead to increased stress and reduced overall well-being. Overcrowded living conditions are common as people cram into small spaces to afford living in the city. The high cost of rent and lack of affordable options reduce the quality of life, limiting lifestyle choices and savings potential. Short-term rentals, such as those offered by Airbnb, have further exacerbated the crisis. Many property owners prefer renting to tourists for short periods at higher rates, rather than leasing to long-term residents. This practice reduces the number of available long-term rental properties, driving up rents and displacing residents who are looking for permanent homes. Hidden costs and fees are another burden for renters. On top of already high rents, tenants frequently encounter hidden expenses such as high deposits, agency fees, and charges for minor damages. As if skyrocketing rental prices weren't challenging enough, there's another factor that's intensifying the housing crisis in Amsterdam. What happens when you add thousands of new residents to an already strained market? The ongoing immigration to Amsterdam has placed significant pressure on an already strained housing market. But how has this influx of new residents really contributed to the city's housing crisis? The influx of new residents, including both highly skilled migrants and those seeking a better life due to economic hardships or conflict in their home countries, has intensified competition for housing, impacting the availability and affordability of homes for long-term residents. As of 2024, the population of Amsterdam is approximately 920,000 people. With over 300,000 international residents, this means that about 32.6% of the city's population consists of internationals. These individuals are often attracted to the city for its strong economy and high quality of life. However, their arrival has significant consequences for the local housing market. Many of these highly skilled migrants receive support from their employers in securing housing, which can include corporate housing or rental assistance. This support gives them an advantage over local residents who do not have such backing, further driving up rental prices and reducing the availability of affordable housing options for the general population. In addition to highly skilled workers, Amsterdam has also seen a considerable number of immigrants who have fled their home countries due to war or seeking better economic opportunities. But what happens when the government's humanitarian efforts to house refugees clash with the needs of long-term residents. The Dutch government has implemented policies to ensure that refugees and asylum seekers who have been granted residency are provided with housing. In 2021, the government aimed to create 20,000 additional housing units specifically for this group, further intensifying competition for housing resources. While these efforts are crucial, they have made it even harder for Amsterdam's long-term residents to find a place to live. The rising cost of living in Amsterdam has led to a significant increase in the number of residents relying on food banks. But why are so many people in a wealthy city being pushed to such extremes? In 2024, the number of households using food banks in the city rose by 26%, highlighting the growing financial difficulties faced by many. What underlying factors are driving this surge in food bank usage, and what does it mean for the future of Amsterdam's residents? Gasoline prices in Amsterdam are among the highest in Europe, adding to the overall cost of living. But how do these soaring fuel costs compare to what drivers pay just across the border? As of 2024, the price of gasoline in the city ranges between €1.90 and €2 per liter. This is significantly higher than in neighboring countries like Belgium, Germany, and France, where gasoline prices are around €1.60 per liter. What makes Amsterdam's fuel prices so much higher, and how are these costs impacting daily life? The substantial difference in fuel costs makes car ownership in Amsterdam a considerable financial burden, particularly when combined with the city's high parking fees and insurance premiums. As residents face rising gasoline prices, what tough choices are they being forced to make between essential expenses? For many residents, the rising cost of gasoline forces difficult choices between essential expenses, further exacerbating financial stress. Life in Amsterdam, despite its many attractions, has become a financial challenge for many of its residents. The high cost of living, driven by a confluence of factors, is pushing the city's affordability out of reach for many. As Amsterdam continues to grow and evolve, finding solutions to these challenges will be crucial to ensuring that the city remains a livable and welcoming place for all its residents.